Well, it's that time of year again. For those of us who live in the South, it's that time of year where we're starting to count down the days to fall. By this time every year, those of us who have sense living in the South, we are tired of dealing with this unbearable summer heat. Or, as the deacons at Woke United Methodist like to call it, global warming or climate change. I'm a big believer in climate change too. I think the climate changes about every 3 or 4 months. I call it seasons. But it's also the time of year where families, they are taking those final vacations before school begins. But there's one particular family. They don't have time for a vacation this time of year. Every year at this time, the hard work, it is just beginning for this family. With NFL training camps getting into full swing, this family puts in minutes and minutes of hard work and dedication trying to re-enter a league where they're not wanted. I don't know about you guys, but I don't want to be in a place where I'm not wanted. Cannot say the same for the king of Cap and his beautiful queen, Tessa. I feel like I've seen this movie before. Matter of fact, I feel like we see this same movie every summer. You know how during the weeks leading up to Christmas, multiple networks on TV, they'll play Home Alone and Home Alone 2 on repeat? It's the same thing in July. Every July, we are treated to the classic film Rand. It is a knockoff of the real classic Rudy. The movie Rand, it tells the painfully boring story of a middle-aged Colin Rand Kaepernick pretending to try out for the NFL. The ending's always the same, it never changes. We see these promotional videos, which used to get millions of views of Colin Kaepernick throwing the football with his partners in the butt bongo. Video editors, they make him look like the second coming of Tom Brady. Oh, Kaepernick is throwing his supersized dart in those strong masculine hands. This man is so talented. He definitely deserves to be in the NFL. At the end of the movie, Colin Kaepernick pretends to be dejected as not one NFL team calls for his services. He is even trying to apply in janitorial services, but the NFL, they utilize the services of the WNBA dump to clean their toilets. Colin, he even tried applying for a job in the dump, but he didn't meet their gender requirements. As you guys know, the WNBA, they only hire women pretending to be men. Unfortunately for Colin, he's a man pretending to be a man. Last week, Colin Kaepernick, he reached out to the Woke Welfare Services Department at Nike, asking them to put together their annual tryout video. Nike, they contacted some of their clients who actually play in the NFL. They asked them to fly out to Oregon to play catch with a bottom-tiered quarterback. Guys like Derrick Henry, Chris Olave from New Orleans, CeeDee Lamb from Dallas, all of them had nothing but praise for the founder of Mythical Racism. Nike, they did what they do best. They produce a video filled with nothing but lies and propaganda. In this movie, Colin Kaepernick, he plays the role of a professional athlete. Watch for yourself.
Man, he looks great. Looks good. Arm looks strong. He got a rocket of an arm. Look at that, man. He got about a good 6 years left.
Cap got a real racket for an arm, man, so it was different. Real good ball placement. Hey, it's easy when you got a quarterback that's been through it. He make it easy for it.
Hopefully that clip made it through. I've been having a lot of issues with copyright lately that I haven't had to deal with in the past. I don't know if it's because the channel's grown and it's getting more views, or I don't know what the deal is, to be honest with you. Over the weekend, NBC, they took down one of my videos that I uploaded 4 or 5 months ago because it had a small clip from Saturday Night Live. But even if the clip didn't make it through, it doesn't matter because it is the exact same footage that we saw last year and the year before that and the year before that and the year before that. Colin Kaepernick surrounding himself with actual NFL players and pretending to be one himself. This is nothing but another desperate attempt by Colin Kaepernick to get invited to NFL training camp. At least, that's what he wants you to believe. He wants the public to think that he is interested in getting back into the NFL, but what this really is a desperate cry for attention. Colin Kaepernick is begging to be noticed. In the past, He is trying to ease his attention withdrawals by publishing books filled with propaganda that are aimed at your children. One of his latest attempts, it was called Abolition for the People, A Future Without Police and Prisons. My inside sources tell me someone actually asked Colin Kaepernick to define abolition. He said, "That's what I do when I'm spanking my wanker on Grindr." The book was so popular, the price has been reduced by 41% on Amazon, and it's got only 136 reviews. Over the years, Colin Kaepernick, he's uploaded dozens of videos like the one I just shared with you guys. These videos used to get millions of views. For some reason, people would actually pay attention. Some were supportive of his pretend quest to return to the NFL. The other 95% would watch for comedic relief. But there's only so many times you can watch a pretender try to make the NFL before it stops being funny. This latest attempt by Colin Kaepernick has less than 30,000 views on Twitter. Last month, he was interviewed by Woke Illustrated. Now, interviews with Colin Kaepernick are extremely rare, even with woke media outlets. I think he's got the same PR team as our fearless leader, John Biden. Their team, they don't like their clients in front of a camera because they know people will notice their cognitive decline. But at least John Biden has an excuse. What is he, 80 years old now? Colin Kaepernick, he was just born without intelligence. Obviously, this interview with Woke Illustrated, it wasn't on camera. It was print only, meaning the pretend journalist asked the questions and Kaepernick's publicist gave the answers. They asked him why he continues pushing his return to the NFL. "Every time I play catch in the backyard, my friends tell me that I'm still elite. I'm 6 years removed from the NFL and I'm still performing better than expected." Yeah, I think the kids today are calling that cap, which is fitting since those three letters mimic the first syllable in Kaepernick, who is also known as the father of lies. I am sure devoted wanker spankers have nothing but praise for Colin Kaepernick. I'm sure the team of people behind him who feed their families off of his propaganda are pushing him to keep embarrassing himself publicly. This dude said, "I'm still elite." When were you ever elite? In order to still be elite, you'd have to reach that level in the past. I watched his entire NFL career. I don't ever remember Colin Kaepernick being elite. If he was, I can guarantee you, I promise you, he would still be in the NFL. There is a serious gap right now at the quarterback position. That's why the quality of play throughout the NFL was down last season. We were all spoiled the last 20 or so years with the best quarterbacks the NFL's ever seen. The top 10, maybe even the top 15 quarterbacks in the league, they were all top tier or close. Tony Romo back then, he was viewed as a mid-tier quarterback. Today, he would be top 5. You've got Mahomes, Burrow, Rodgers, who's in decline, Josh Allen, maybe guys like Justin Herbert, maybe guys like Jalen Hurts. After that, the level of play at the quarterback position drops dramatically. Hell, the Saints were so desperate for a quarterback last year, they were begging for Drew Brees to come back, and he had seriously declined his last couple of years in the league. Point being, if Colin Kaepernick were capable, NFL teams would be calling. There are 2 reasons, though, why Colin Kaepernick is not getting calls. Number 1, he's not talented enough for teams to deal with the mountain of turds that comes along with signing him. One of the main things NFL teams try to eliminate are distractions. Let's check out some of Colin Kaepernick's greatest hits. Obviously, kneeling for the national anthem, top of the list, which caused ratings throughout the NFL to drop almost 20%. Remember his failed Netflix documentary where he compared the NFL draft to a slave auction? Or what about the time he compared cops to slave catchers and said they could eliminate minorities with impunity and get paid for it? 2019, he organizes an NFL tryout in Atlanta. Several NFL teams, they were actually willing to watch him play catch. This tryout, it was held on a Saturday. I think it was in the middle of December. Coaches, scouts, they are busy that time of year, trying to make the playoffs. At the last minute, Colin Kaepernick suddenly changes the location of the tryout. Then he blames the NFL for teams not willing to show up. Or what about the time that he accused the NFL of mythical racism and claimed that the only reason he was blackballed from the league was because he's black? I mean, I guess the NFL's obviously racist, right? It's not like the highest paid players in the league are black or anything. The real reason Colin Kaepernick's not in the NFL today, he didn't want to be. Like I've said many times, this is another desperate cry for attention. He does this same thing every year. During his interview with Woke Illustrated, he said, "I keep doing these tryouts because so many people seem to have forgotten my capabilities." We haven't forgotten your capabilities, dude. Mainly because you don't have any, you're not capable. But that's beside the point because we have forgotten you, which is exactly why every year at this time you pull off the same fucking publicity stunt. This stunt was old 4, maybe 5 years ago. Now it's just comedic. It's almost sad in a way. This dude is so desperate for attention that he is willing to publicly embarrass himself just to get a few thousand views on Twitter. Truth is, Colin Kaepernick has ran out of material. He is running out of ideas to remain relevant. This situation with Colin Kaepernick, it reminds me of a comedian that tried out for America's Got Talent several years ago. This comedian was, I think the correct way to say this would be to say this comedian was a thick woman. She wore a blonde wig to cover her baldness. She was one of those physical comedians who didn't necessarily have the best content, but she was physically funny. First audition, she absolutely nails it. She's pulling hamburgers out of her bra. She even had a bird's nest hidden somewhere where she pulled out a prepubescent boy who closely resembled Megan Rapinoe. Judges loved her. Audience loved her. She advances to the next round. Round 2, Jay Leno was the guest judge. This comedian comes out and completely bombs. It was embarrassing. Her act was unrecognizable when compared to her first audition. Towards the end, Jay Leno was talking to the judges and he says, she ran out of material. He compared her to comedians that he had on The Tonight Show where they would nail their first appearance, but they couldn't follow up. That is exactly what's happening today with Colin Kaepernick. His post-NFL career has been built on the foundation of mythical racism. The problem is, that is no longer the primary focus of the mainstream media and woke United Methodist. They have moved on. They're now fighting for the rights of Leah Thomas to shave in the women's locker room. Colin Kaepernick has faded into the background. He's out of the spotlight. For someone addicted to attention, that is the last place you want to be. If Colin Kaepernick was serious about returning to the NFL, he would have spent the last few years playing in the CFL or the XFL, the USFL, hell, playing football in a rec league. He would have proven himself, made NFL teams have to call him. They could not resist giving him a tryout. Instead, he has spent the last few years playing the victim instead of playing football. But give me your thoughts. Do you think Colin Kaepernick is serious about an NFL return? Or is this just another publicity stunt, another cry for attention? You let me know. Sound off in the comments below. Make sure to like and subscribe. Click the notification bell to receive all notifications from the channel. Best way to contact me is by email at btlkc84@gmail.com, KC_BTL84 on Twitter. I'll see you guys later.